and it is 11 o'clock Central Time here in the United States. I guess 5 o'clock in Berlin. And welcome to our last set of sessions for MAXDAYS 2023. My name is Michael Gizzi, and I'm a certified trainer for MaxQDA, and I'm excited to be with you here for the next 45 minutes exploring MAXDictio and the quantitative content analysis tools that it offers. There's a handout which you can access from the chat. Feel free to grab a copy of it. And I'm going to pretty much spend my whole time just in MaxQDA. I will use the handout a few times, but most of it will be here in MaxQDA. Quantitative content analysis, or a quantitative text analysis module. MAXDictio is a tool, it's a set of tools that does not exist in the baseline standard version of MaxQDA. You need to have MaxQDA Plus or MaxQDA Analytics Pro to use most of the features. And it offers tools for word-based analysis of text and PDF documents. And it's really kind of in three sets of categories: word frequencies and word combinations, analyses of keywords and contexts, and interactive word trees. And then its largest, I think it's probably its most important tools, quantitative content analysis with a dictionary. And I left out word matrix browser, but I will cover that as well. So just to give you a sense, when we're talking about quantitative text analysis, we're talking about where we're using, particularly when we're talking about doing an actual content analysis through a dictionary, we're talking about using a lot of auto-coding features in MaxQDA. And very briefly, I'm going to show you a project that, if you notice here, these are all tweets. Several thousand tweets. I've been working on this for a long time. Over the course of 2 years, from the American Center for Disease Control about the pandemic. And if you'll notice these large number of coded segments, much of this was done using auto coding through things like, and so for example, and then I'm going to I'm showing you the power of this before I actually start explaining it. Code matrix browser. I just want those documents. I'm able to auto code concepts and then refine them looking at, so for example, CDC recommendations by month, number of tweets that involve these concepts. It's a very powerful set of tools. For today, though, I'm going to use a project file that is actually ongoing. It's a major piece of research that I'm involved in now, and it's about strategy. It's about business strategy, and it involves Netflix Corporation, global entertainment corporation. We're tracking the strategy of a company over 5 years, and we have two types of data. We have earnings, we have letters to shareholders, and we have transcripts of earnings calls that are quarterly, 4 times a year. So for each year, we have 8 documents plus a summary document. And our approach to this was to use MAXDictio as our starting point. We wanted to actually use the auto-coding tools to help us identify concepts in these documents, and then from there use normal coding tools and analytical tools. So first off, MAXDictio. MAXDictio shows up at the top of Max in the menu. It's in between reports and stats. And as I said before, it's sort of broken into 3 areas. We have word frequencies, we have keyword and context, word combinations, interactive word tree, and a word matrix browser. This is new, and it's one of my favorite tools. And then we have dictionary-based content analysis, the actual dictionary, category matrix browser, and then auto-coding with a dictionary. So what I thought I would do is very briefly go through this part and then spend most of our time over here so you're able to understand. Feel free to ask questions. Yeah, a second. You can use the Q&A, but if you just use the chat, it may even be easier because it's just it's only one thing for me to see. So word frequencies. Word frequencies is a tool that lets you literally see the count of all words in your project or in activated documents. It's pretty simple. It gives you the opportunity to narrow it to a list of go words of the only terms you want to use, or to eliminate I'll show you here in a second, to use go words and to actually use words that you've defined in a dictionary. We'll come to that later. I click it. It gives me the opportunities here to decide how I want to break this down. Do I want to break it by documents or groups, document sets? And in fact, in this project, I have kind of all of those. I'll start with document groups. Apply a stop word list. These are words that we don't want to use. We have choices here too. There's lots of different words. And for whatever reason, this project has a lot of stop word lists and global lists as well, terms to avoid. But I'm just not going to worry about it. And it lets us do something called lemmatization. To lemmatize words lets us count words from the same stem or root together. So for example, if I use the word give, it will give me give, gave, or given, multiple variants of the same term. So I just simply, and I've told it to ignore hyperlinks, email addresses, hashtags, numbers, etc. Click OK. And it's generating a list of documents, of terms, word length, frequencies. And you'll notice here, it's showing me the total frequency. So that's boring, right? Let's go to larger words. There we go. The word length is 15. The frequency is, it occurs 15 times. Actually, I want to sort by frequency. Nah, word length. Internationally, 15 times, it's 15 characters long, and it shows me the breakdown in my document groups of those terms. If you click on the term, it will open up a search box or search results, and those search results will show you all of the usage of the term. 5 hits, 4 documents, 4 document groups, and you can take advantage of MAXQDA's coding. So I could say I want all 5 of these, and I could say I'm going to create a new code, and I'm going to call it experimentation. I would probably write in a memo, but I'm not because I want to save our time. And I don't want the word. I want, let's say, the paragraph that it's in. And now I will have 5 coded segments. And I'll be able to code that for that concept. In fact, it is a useful tool. You can also save the number of hits per document as a document variable if that's useful too. So word frequencies. And if, again, I already opened up the stop word list, but you literally can create as many lists as you want and words that you want to exclude. A go word list would be of terms that I definitely want to include. I haven't been using that. I don't tend to use this very much personally. My own workflow is more focused on this and this. So let's switch over to here, and we have word combinations, we have keyword in context, interactive word trees, and word matrix browser. Keyword in context. Now this is going to enable me to either use a dictionary, a go list, or a series of search terms. So I've got a search term here, seasonality, and I want to search, I want to see the context of how this word is used in my data. This shows me, so we'll see some natural seasonality in terms of release content. And it shows me, in this instance, I have like 19 hits and 13 documents. Again, I can auto code. I can code this data using a new code, or I could click on a code. So say this was, I don't think I have seasonality yet in this project. Let's say this was experimentation. It doesn't really matter. Actually, no, industry. I'll click on it. And when I click this, it's going to let me choose the last terms that codes that I've used. And again, I auto code it, and I can select the search term, the sentence, or paragraph or paragraphs. The reason I like to use paragraphs is I really like to see the bigger context. All right, I see something in the Q&A. Good question. When will lemmatization be available for text in Russian? I don't have the answer, but we have an answer from Julia. And we'll place this as a feature request. There we go. Okay. Already answered. It's an interesting tool, particularly if you want to figure out sort of how these terms get used. And it will also I'm trying to think. It's also something that can be one of the ways in which you can approach auto coding. And for me, it's even more important. I want to make sure that if I'm going to plan on building a dictionary of terms, I want to make sure that the term that I'm using actually makes sense for what I'm trying to capture. And I'll explain, I'll show that later. So that's keyword in context, word combinations. And this is interesting. It lets me run combinations of words, and it also lets me pull up the last results if I've done this multiple times in a session. I can go word combinations. Again, I can differentiate by documents or groups, or no differentiation. Same deal. I can go so I can go from 2 to 5 terms. I'll select 3 to 5. Can apply a stop list and only word combinations within sentences or within parts of sentences with separators. So I can use that too. So it's smart. And I'll lemmatize, and these are my language choices here. Click OK. Now here, word combinations is showing me, again, 3 to 5 words that show up a lot. And in this project, 3 words are oftentimes going to be the names in our transcripts. So it may not be the most useful tool for us in this, but here's an example. Corporate development investor. No, that's the same deal. It's a title. Again, click on it. You can see the search results. And in this example here, I actually differentiated it by documents. So it's actually going through all 45 documents looking for terms. Same deal. I can show the frequency of words. I can show the ranking of the words. Or the documents. It's not doing much. And with word combinations, I could create a word cloud. Not particularly helpful with this data necessarily, but let me run it again just with, let me deactivate just letters, do word combinations. This helps because my letters don't tend to have names and titles, but this gives me much better results that I could potentially use. The next one is interactive word tree. This one is better with, this can get slow. If I try to do all 45 documents, it might take a while. So I'm going to just take 1 year. And I'll insert activated documents that I want. I don't need that one because that's just a summary document for summary tables. And I click OK. And this starts with the. And what it's doing, the interactive word tree, is it's showing us sort of what proceeds after the world. And then you see all of these possibilities. I can view this, that's not a useful term for me. So I'm going to take a concept I know shows up in this data. So I can view it from left, and it starts with pull forward. The pull forward that you just referenced, that you're seeing of the rest of the year of growth in our member growth. Again, it's letting us explore our data. I can view it in the middle, so we're seeing the words that come before it and the words after. So it's kind of like keyword in context. And I can see just, the words before. So after, before, and in the middle. And as I'm clicking on things, I can click on words. And it's showing me the choices. And then from here, I can click on any word that shows up, and it'll create a new word tree. With this data, with this tool, it's not really for auto coding. And it doesn't generate search results, but it's still powerful. And you can use it in a QTT, and you can take screenshots of it. So hopefully that makes sense. Let's see what we got here. Okay. The newest feature in MAXDictio is the word matrix browser. Now, when I first started this presentation, I opened up another project, and I opened up a visual tool, the code matrix browser, a way of demonstrating the usage of coded segments across documents. So a code matrix browser would look like this, sort of. This is just document groups. It's showing me terms and showing me the usage of codes, and it's interactive, and I could click into it and I can see the retrieved segments below. Let me close this interactive word tree. I'm going to close that now because it slows it down if I start opening a bunch. The word matrix browser is very similar, except instead of codes, it's letting me create a browser window, a matrix of words or phrases that come either from search terms, from a Go list, or from items in a dictionary. And again, we'll hold off on dictionary because we haven't talked about it yet, but we're talking about it next. And so I created a series of terms here. They're related to this data. And I want to sort this again by document group. I click OK. And this looks just like that code matrix browser, except these aren't necessarily codes. These are terms. Notice phrases or words. And just like the interactive, just like the code matrix browser, this tool is interactive. Instead, but it's not going to open retrieve segments. Instead, it's going to open up a search result window from which I can create new codes, apply new codes, or apply existing codes. So in my Twitter project, a large number of my auto coding came through the use of the word matrix browser. It's very powerful. I really like it. I find it as a quick way. And if you're doing dictionary-based work, being able to very quickly see the breakdown of a variety of terms can be helpful. So again, I can code it. I can also export it. Oh, I can also view it, in multiple ways. I can use heat maps. I can set things to, I can binarize the view. So it shows up if it's in these documents or groups. I can count hits only once per document. So it has all of the same tools you'll find in the code matrix browser. Very powerful, nice addition. The relevance will come even more clear in a few minutes. This gets us to dictionary-based content analysis. Now, until MaxQDA 2022, this was called quantitative content analysis. It's the exact same tool. It's just now called dictionary-based. I actually prefer that as a term. You creates a matrix tests by dictionary. What it does is it lets you use a dictionary of terms to be able to identify, to conduct a content analysis. And then you may or may not code from that data. We'll show you. But in order to use this tool, I have to have actually created a dictionary. And a dictionary is, and you'll notice here, I've got multiple dictionaries. We've been playing with these a lot. A dictionary consists of kind of roots and categories. So for example, if I'm interested in partnerships, I'm going to then create search items. I'll pretend I haven't done any of that. I would click create a search item. And because I know the word partner, I could choose to use partnership, as a whole word or partner as a whole word, or I could be case sensitive or not, and I could use starting letters. So if I use partner as a starting letter, that's going to give me partner, partners, partnerships. So I don't need as many terms to conduct the search. I can add as many terms as I want here to capture elements of partnerships. So one of the terms that we use, and I created a category for it, but I called bundling of services. I could have included this here, but I decided for our purposes just to put this right here. And for this one, instead of saying bundle with the full word, I left off the E at the end, and then I selected starting letters. I create categories, and I can create subcategories as well. Okay, I don't really need a subcategory for it, so here you got to be careful when if you want to delete something, you make sure you only delete, you use this to get rid of one thing. I had a very nice, fairly complex dictionary once, and I accidentally used delete all categories. Bad move. They were gone. Until I opened a backup of the project, and then I exported, let's see, new dictionary. Let's see. I exported the dictionary. I right-clicked on it, and I exported it out to a file, and then I can import it in. Can have as many dictionaries as I want, and I can create a dictionary and drag it to global. And if I put it in global, then it will show up in all of my projects, which may or may not be useful. So here I've created a dictionary, and I've got a few other terms here that I'm going to explain in a minute, but I call this dictionary for MAXDAYS. I close the dictionary, and then here I can go dictionary content analysis. Wait, I clicked the wrong one, sorry. Dictionary-based content analysis. Unit of analysis documents. Differentiate codes if I want, count the same words only once. I have lots of limits or options. I click OK. And this is going to show me the terms that I just created, and it's going to show me where they occur, what documents they exist in. I can turn these results into document variables if I want. I can create autocode the documents with dictionary categories. So right from here, I could take these categories and apply them through autocoding. I can also search the results. It'll let me pick the categories I want. Let me switch dictionaries and do this again. And the way I do that is go to dictionary, and I'm going to go to a 9-category dictionary. The other thing here is I can turn things on and off, meaning I don't want to use them. So this is a much more complex dictionary. We're actually not using that one anymore. We realized it was too complex and it didn't accomplish what we wanted. But for our purposes, dictionary-based content analysis, it will automatically remember the last dictionary you opened. And now I have all of these. And if I wanted to, I could autocode each of these categories. You'll notice it's capturing the category, which is partnerships, not the search items. So hopefully that makes some sense. If I want to search one of the areas, I'll deselect all, and I'll just go to the area I've been working on. It's called partnerships, and I'll click OK. It's thinking, and what it did When MaxQDA goes gray like that, it means it's actually processing something. It doesn't mean it's crashing. And this is showing me all of the usage of partners in all of these 290 hits and 34 documents, and in all document groups. Notice partners, partnership. It's capturing partnering. And I could jump to the category matrix browser. Okay. I won't do that from here. That's the next tool. The category matrix browser lets me see not just the categories, but actually, yeah, it lets me see. It lets me browse them in a very easy to use, interactive table or matrix. Same deal, giving me search results, which I can code. Now, you might think, well, wait a second here. How is this different than this? Well, it's structured differently, and in order to get to that interactive data, I need to do search results first. There's a slight difference. And then you might ask, all right, so we have this. What about this? Search item of dictionary. Ah, now that's very different. The search item of the dictionary, if I'm using Word Matrix Browser, is showing me the categories and all the search terms. So at the same time, we have three different types of tools that we can draw on. They all have, there's a lot of user choice and preference. In all honesty, when I'm doing dictionary-based stuff, I use the category matrix more than I use this. Just because I want to be able to explore and test and look to see what's in there. Now, the next element here is autocode with dictionary. Now, I don't want to autocode with that dictionary. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to just use this one here because it's pretty simple. All I have to do is click on it once. So I made sure it's the most recent dictionary I was looking at. Autocode with, and actually I didn't need to do that with this one because this tool lets you pick. So dictionary for MAXDAYS. And I'm going to code. Again, I'll stick with the paragraph. We were doing one before and one after for this. I'm just going to say one paragraph. Autocode. It's coding. It's going to take a little bit of time. Let me check the Q&A while we're here. Yep. What do you like more? Create categories and subcategories, or categories without any subcategories? User preference. I've done it both ways. In some ways, when I was doing the Twitter stuff, I started doing it with subcategories, and in the end, I just found it was easier for me just to have them all at the main category level. Would you say the dictionary is like a set of saved searches? Sort of, but it's just the terms that you're going to use. So yeah, search terms, sure. But it's far more powerful because the text analysis doesn't let you do that. All right, so I have now auto-coded. I'll get rid of these. Oh, it just did them in the same folder. I already had these. And so what it did was it added the codes, the terms that I just did to to these existing codes for partnerships and competition. But what it does, the first time you run it, it creates a top level parent code called MAXDictio, and then each category becomes a next level code, a child code, or a secondary level code. And then it will code that data for you. Oh no, it's right here. So it didn't replicate it because these were existing ones from other searches. It actually added them right here. So those were the terms. Now, using the dictionary-based content analysis is the easy part. Creating the dictionary is the hard part. And selecting your search terms is something that you want to do very carefully. You want to use tools like all of these to look to see if I use a word, will that word make sense for it? But in addition to word frequencies and keyword and context, you can also go to analysis and use Word Explorer, one of my absolute favorite tools, Word Explorer. And so Word Explorer, it's available to all users of MaxQDA. It's not a part of MaxDictio, but in many ways it is a part of MaxDictio because it's doing the same type of work. So earlier on, I took a concept that's called pull forward, and it's about an increase in subscribers. I'm going to click explore, and I had starting letters there. That gave me 19 hits. I'm going to change that to font whole words, 19 hits. 17 hits with pull dash forward. Actually, let's use a different term. Bundle. Bundle, starting letters. You can't have starting letters and whole words if your starting letters aren't real words. So here I have 51 hits and 19 documents. I can click on these and explore these terms to see, do these words make sense for me? Are these what I actually want? I can see where they occur most frequently. I got this set up to go to, it can go to 50. It gives me word combinations, context words. It provides me the ability, it shows where it occurs in my writing and comments and summaries. And so for me, one of the benefits of Word Explorer here is making sure the terms work. Because if I were to create, so one of the things that, if I'm thinking of the strategy of the company that I'm studying here, and one of the more recent strategies is to develop mobile gaming systems, or not mobile games. The challenge with that is if I create a dictionary term called game, will that actually give me what I want? And when I explore it, I say, oh, wow, it shows up a lot. Until I look at it, Bruce the Comedy Game Over. Sacred Games, our first Indian show. Sacred Games. You're going to have Squid Games. The word game by itself is not going to be a great term to use for purposes of building a dictionary. I need to find a way to refine that so that if I want to use these auto coding features. So maybe if I switch to gaming, I do get different types of results, and I can just click on the results and see, where it occurs in the text and give myself a much better sense of it. And so when I'm in the process of of building a dictionary, I need to spend a lot of time thinking about these things. I've gone way late, but I think we're answering questions as we move through. I have one more thing, and then I'll be done. At the end of the handout, I provide you with some guidance about reviewing auto-coded segments in a dictionary-based content analysis, manual review of coded segments in your document, read through them. One way to do this is to activate new codes, use the document browser settings to only display active coded segments. That's what I do when I'm doing this. I coded for partnerships, and then I look at all of those paragraphs and I decide if they're still relevant, and I then begin a process of refining them with subcodes. Once I'm pretty confident that the terms are good, I will use the smart coding tool to review my coded segments. It's a good check for accuracy as well, and it lets me refine it. And I can use Word Explorer to double check categories. And so for me, a good workflow for dictionary building might begin with Word Explorer and word frequencies combinations and Word Matrix browser to help developing the terms. Test it out by running dictionary content analysis and category matrix browser to see if the results seem to be capturing what you want. And then autocode, review the results, and then start using smart coding. Now, there's a lot there, and I regularly offer a longer webinar that focuses on all of this, but really tends to focus on the dictionary-based stuff. And you can get more resources on that. It's a really useful tool. When I was dealing with 4,000 tweets, MAXDictio was a godsend. It saved so much time. Manually going through that many tweets was overwhelming. But using MAXDictio and developing good search mechanisms enabled me to capture what I needed and to do it with a great deal of accuracy. So what questions do you have? 30 minutes went to 42 minutes. Sorry about that. I think we've got all the questions. Is it possible to use regular expression for any of the searches? I'm not sure. What do you mean by regular expression? And may I use Boolean commands in the Word Explorer tool? Julie, I don't know if you can answer either of those questions. I don't think you can use Boolean in Word Explorer. I think you would just want to use text search and autocode, which I didn't talk about, but it also is obviously a useful tool. It's difficult to develop a good dictionary. Would you recommend using perhaps a 30-year day to develop it, then use the dictionary on the remaining? I don't know that if I would do that. I think for me, I would definitely explore my data before I built the dictionary. I might do paraphrasing and categorizing them into some codes that I will want to use in the dictionary. But I really, for me, in our project here, because we've got 45, we have 8 documents. 45 documents that we're looking at over the course of 5 years, and they're fairly long. We just spent a decent amount of time sort of thinking about it. I don't know. I think that could work. I don't know if I would do a third. Can you use regular expressions? Regular expressions available in the extended text search feature. And Boolean commands, yeah, I don't know either. Word Explorer lets you use phrases, words or phrases, and limit it to starting letters or whole words. So if I say, and case sensitivity, but beyond that, that's sort of where it's functioning. Powerful tool. What's the reason you can't edit or add columns in an Excel document in MaxQDA? Oh, you mean in a table document in MaxQDA? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's designed for that, but I have thought about it, particularly in that other project. Because these are tables. The table, I can simply edit it, and I can only, ooh, getting a spinning rainbow. I can't add a column, but I can edit the text of it. So put that as a feature request, I guess. Any other questions? I do like that idea that a dictionary is a folder that contains multiple groups, categories of search terms that are saved so they can be used anytime. That's really spot on. That's a great term. I just copied it and I'm going to save it for the future. Any questions? We have found, well, I'll end in just a second, but we have found that using MAXDictio to kind of start us down the path of our study has been really helpful. So for example, I'm just going to hide things. I was able to use dictionary-based tools to capture partnerships. And then from that, I was able to use the smart coding tool and to develop a series of subcodes that are really capturing the broader elements of the whole process. Folks, I hope you have had a wonderful conference and you hang around for the concert that things will end with, and hopefully we will see you at other events. There are regular webinars, training, resources available to you. That's probably one of the best parts about MaxQDA is no other product provides you as much resources for helping you use this tool.